April.
And I'm Deidre. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Happy Saturday. A little late, but we're here.
A little late, better late than never, right?
That's right. Absolutely. We're just trying to get our little social media together. We keep looking down,
because I need to share the page. Oh, my gosh. How are you, April?
I'm great. I'm still on cloud 9.
Yes.
Because my son is, I can still say cloud 9. He's going to high school next year.
Yay, awesome.
14-year-old. My goodness. So he just completed the 8th grade. Yep. Of course, it's graduation season, and everybody is, we see it all over social media. Everybody's graduating from, I don't know, preschool, kindergarten, grammar school, middle school, high school, college.
Yes.
We see it all. But my son is in the middle school graduation part, and oh my gosh, we screamed our heads off. I'm just so proud of him because he, he's just the type of kid. He's very, very smart, and he kind of just takes it in stride. He's just very humble about his abilities and his skills. He was in MUN. Speech and debate. And he's just he's so unlike me. He's not nervous before he does things like at that age. Right. At that age I was in speech and drama and I had this and that, but I was just literally shaking, in front of a class, the paper would be shaking. I was just so fearful. And he would write his speeches and he would just say, "Oh, can I say the speech to you, Mom?" And I would say, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, what do you do to prepare? Right. And how do you feel? Are you nervous?" He said, "Not really." I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh my gosh.
He's awesome at math. He's a straight A student, by the way. I'm just so proud of him.
Yeah, he's just you and his dad did a great job and doing a great job.
Thank you.
Just well-rounded and grounded young man, just focused, and just being a proud family, it was just really a wonderful accomplishment for him. And
he got Jarvis is showing a picture. He got a gold medal for highest honors, and he's just awesome. And I was able to brag because when I was in school, I was a straight A student. So, and his dad was not.
Right.
So I could honestly say, "Oh, you got that from your mama."
Yeah, right.
And I was so proud. His dad was like, "Yeah, it wasn't me.
Yeah,
it wasn't me. It's from your mom."
Exactly.
So, yay. So I'm like, I can claim something because they hang out. They're both athletic. They're both into everything together. And I'm just on the side like, oh, okay. Right. But yes, he got it from his mama. But no. Let me just give him all his accolades. Abasi, I'm so proud of you, and he knows this already. We went out to eat. He and I celebrated. We just went to the beach and just hung out. We just had such a great time.
That's great. And
so proud of him.
Yes, wonderful accomplishment. And also just want to congratulate the class of 2017 period this year. Whoever has graduated, because that's such an accomplishment. Because graduating middle school, high school, those are big deals, and that really sets the pace for your life, in terms of jobs and making, salary living, good living for yourself. So it's very important that, we celebrate our young children and young people to graduate and encourage them to continue on their education and make sure that
I agree. And like you said, it's such an accomplishment, it's just... everyone was saying, "Wow, these last 2 years have gone by so fast," because his middle school is only 7th and 8th grade. Okay. And everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh," all the parents, mind you, and grandparents, "This year went by so fast. These last 2 years," and the kids were like, "No, it didn't. Not to me, because they lived it, and they worked very, very hard." So, just so proud of him. He'll be in high school next year.
Be. I know, though. That's so fast, Because I just remember when he was little and everything, and just a cute little baby, and now they just fly. I mean, I could think back when my own children were little. It's just just unbelievable how time flies. So it's just to cherish cherish all those moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So good job.
Thank you. Yay.
So, but anyway, I want to just say thank you to a wonderful visitor that came by my business this past week.
Who was that?
Our engineer Jarvis. So I was just so excited to see him come through
with Jarvis.
Yeah, we
at
did
the kiosk.
at the kiosk. So Dinner for Love kiosk. So it was cool to see Jarvis stop by. Thank you. And
that was a nice surprise.
yeah, I saw him from afar. I'm like,
wait, you know what?
Jarvis?
And you know what? This we three. We're like hashtags Team Scorpio all the time, right? We think it's kismet here. We have some sort of connection. Deidre and I are born on the same day, so we are 2 years apart. We already know that that's unique. And then Jarvis comes along, and we just kind of sync.
Yep.
And so the mall, you guys, those of you locally, Del Amo Mall is huge.
It is.
It's a huge, huge mall. We always have to describe to people where her kiosk is located. People who have been there many times call us and say, "Where are you guys? Where?" Jarvis picks the right entrance, the exact entrance.
I know, of all places, right?
And walks right across in our view. I mean, he didn't even.
And then I see him.
He wasn't lost or anything.
No,
came right to us.
I saw him coming, and then he's looking like my kiosk is this way, but he's looking like this. He's going like just walking in and looking this way. Then he turns this way. I'm like, Jarvis. Like, he found it perfectly and everything. Like, yeah, like, who does that?
Like
you don't know how many phone calls I get.
That's what I was
and
thinking.
These are from repeat people sometimes. Where are you at again? I'm on the other side by by whatchamacallit. And I'm like, you have to drive all the way around.
Yes,
so it was really nice.
Yes, it was wonderful.
Nice
Shout
to see.
out to Ken Johnson. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
And Janet Laura. I happen to know it's her
Happy birthday, Janet. I know.
Happy birthday.
She is the mama of my grandson, Kaden.
Right.
So happy birthday, Janet. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys.
Yes.
Kiss Kaden for me. And have a great birthday.
That's right.
So awesome.
So Deidre, I was thinking,
yes,
we were talking about going to Cuba a few months ago. Were we not?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that Trump kind of reversed everything?
Yes,
I
did.
In the process of reversing all the, travel things. I don't know the details, but I just saw that, and everybody all of a sudden saying, "Oh my gosh, we can't go to Cuba."
Well, you can still go, but there's restrictions on it.
Can we come back?
Right. Do we want to come back?
Do they want us to come back?
Exactly. But we can still go, but there's just some restrictions on it. Far as I guess they don't want the tourists to support them, like some local businesses, like hotels, different things like that, because it's ran by the Cuban military. So for some reason, crazy,
it's communist.
So they don't want us to support that, but we can still travel there. So okay. There are some restrictions, but right now they haven't totally banned us. I don't know.
Airbnb. Somebody got an Airbnb in Cuba?
They did say Airbnb. As a matter of fact,
I was thinking
that's the way you book it. Book them. So,
and I love Airbnb.
I do
by the
too.
way. Can y'all sponsor us, please?
Right?
Can we sponsor?
We stayed in some wonderful Airbnbs. I just want to live in. Like,
you don't want to leave those. Huh?
No, they were really good. So
wow, what are you doing? You can't.
I'm checking. Someone says there's no sound.
We're trying to have a show here.
I'm trying to. No, there's technical difficulties. People are texting me, so this says there's no sound. Ken said there's no sound. So really? I don't know if that's still the case. And then
hopefully there's some sound now.
Mm-hmm. So
what do you think, Jarvis?
We try it, test it. But
I don't know. We'll see later.
Right. But anyway, but it's wonderful here in California. We're going through, it's like our summer has finally started. It's
absolutely started.
Like 80s and 90s. It's just been really beautiful these last few days.
I don't hear anything.
So we're having good sunshine, good beach weather.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little too hot, but it's beautiful. As it never rains in Southern California, as the song says.
Right.
So we've been having a good time with that. And I don't hear any sound.
I don't hear any sound either. Can you guys? And I don't know sign language. Can you guys hear us out there? Can you?
Yeah, if you cannot.
If you can hear us, can you please let us know on our Facebook Live right now? If you can hear, can you hear? That's unusual. That's weird.
Yeah.
Hello. So maybe we should just take a break and get this technical difficulty straightened out.
Yeah, we can do that.
So will be any What do you think, Jarvis? Just take. We're just going to take a break.
Yeah.
And we will have this straightened out.
Yes.
I am claiming it. I am speaking it.
Stay tuned,
everybody.
Stay
tuned. And I'm going to say this before we take the break. We're going to have our guest back here, Michael James Brown. He is from the Other Awareness Project, and it's a project about self-identification. And he will be with us when we come back. Please stay tuned.
Speak Your Week will guide you through the process of using the power of your thoughts and words to create more positivity and success in your life, day to day and week to week. Written by It's Time to Talk's own host, April Jordan. This dynamic book will remind you of the powerful person you really are and how to use that power to create the life that you want. Want better health, success, abundance, love, and more. Within the chapters, you will discover the kind of thoughts, emotions, and words you should be speaking about the things that matter to you most. Also, included in this book are affirmations to speak each day of the week. When spoken in daily succession, these affirmations gain momentum and can help you on your journey towards the life of your dreams. There's no other way around having the life that you want. It all starts with you. Get ready to speak your week. Available for download at Amazon.com.
now. We're back live in the studio.
Yes.
And if you can't hear us, could you please, those of you who are tuned in on Facebook Live, could you please just say, yes, you can hear, yes, we can hear you. We'd really appreciate it because it's so hard to tell from here. I believe we can.
I'm going to try to play it, see.
Yeah, I tried to play it, but I just wanted to make sure.
We're good?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, we do have engineer, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're
well,
good.
he did say, I don't know. I'm teasing. And we said happy birthday to Janet before we went to the break, but I don't think she could hear us. So happy birthday, Janet. We love you.
She is the mother of my grandson, Caden. And so happy birthday, Janet. Give Caden a kiss for me.
Yes, and me too.
And have a great birthday.
Okay, I said, well, maybe you didn't hear me, but we have a wonderful guest in the studio with us here today. His name is Michael James Brown, and he is the writer and producer of the project Other Awareness Project, and it is a project about self-identification. Please welcome him to our show.
Thanks for having me today.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
This has been, we've been trying to get you on for a little while, so this is finally, it's all come to fruition.
It's probably been about 2 or 3, well, since we've met,
right.
It's probably been like 2 or 3 years.
But,
years?
Yeah, well, kind of, sort of, yeah.
A little bit of time.
Well, I just found out about it, so, it's not.
Well, I kept begging to be on, and y'all had dancers and clowns and all kind of other stuff. And I'm going, hey, how come I can't get my project up here? What's going on?
Like, what
you weren't dancing. You weren't clowning.
Well, no, I had to buy a bar of soap to get on the show.
Oh, man. Which I still didn't bring. No, I didn't know he wanted one or so.
That's hilarious.
Man.
That's pretty
Well,
funny.
please tell us about the Other Awareness Project.
Sure. So again, thanks you guys for having me on. Sure. And the Other Awareness Project is it's a long-term project. It originally started in 2003, and the short answer, the Other Awareness Project is I'm looking at self-identification as opposed to race and ethnicity. This is normally like a 4-hour presentation. I've broken it up in a couple different parts. I'm a 2-time speaker at the National Conference of Race and Ethnicity. I speak at a lot of schools, high schools, all of those things. The focus of the project is not to regurgitate all the same old information and talk about what other people, the words that come out of their mouth. The Other Awareness Project is about how do you justify the words that come out of your mouth. So that despite all of the information, scientifically, religious, legal, why do people still use the same old undefined words to call themselves any racial categories? Who started the language? Yeah. What was the purpose of starting it that way? And is that helping you to solve any problems today? And does that even fit you?
Wow.
That's pretty deep there. That's an awareness. That is that is something that people have to kind of just stop provoking. You have to think about it. You have to figure out what self-identification versus the racial divides, the cultures.
Yeah, because I think once you step in a room, okay, obviously everyone can see you and everyone starts judging you and everyone makes their predetermined, judgments about you based on ethnicity, race, gender.
Yes.
That's an automatic thing. And so how do
wait, I don't want to cut you off, but it's not automatic. Okay. What I say is that, so we're at a time period where we have been, and I say we, that would be all of the people in the United States as we're standing on another man's land. So this wasn't our original home. It wasn't an original home of a whole bunch of different folks.
Right.
Most of the information that you receive in school or in everything else, they tell you about 4 or 5 black folks. They tell you about Martin Luther King. They tell you about, Christmas addicts, like 5 or 6 folks. They leave out a whole breadth of information as if we were only on this planet like a couple hundred years ago. People are long histories on this planet. India, China, whole bunch of countries, but they only give you a certain percentage of it during the time that you're in the school. So it's only automatic because of the information that you receive. One of the questions as we go through and talk to folks, and it's an astounding thing, if you ever noticed, there's only like 22 countries on this whole planet that have never been invaded by England.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So there's 22 countries where somebody else hasn't come in, changed their gods, changed their religions, changed all this other stuff. They stepped in, told them what God thinks of them, who they are, their place in society, and all of that stuff. So it's only automatic because that's all the information that we ever receive, in my opinion.
Right. No,
Right.
I agree. Because, I mean, I remember in school, same thing. All we were told as African Americans, black folks, is that we were slaves.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that was it.
And that was it.
That was it.
So,
We
you
come
know,
from slavery.
thank God we had, you know, our parents and grandparents that
Right.
told us that we came from.
No, but you know what? That's true. And I remember feeling ashamed. You know, like, oh God, here we go, history,
one
and
thing.
here we're going to get to this dang on slavery. You know, you get through the periods and
Right.
talk about slavery. Here
Yes.
we go.
Right,
And
right.
I got to feel less than because
yeah.
of this is my history. And
Right.
then, you know, everyone who is not of African American descent is like looking at you like,
Right.
tis, tis, tis. And you take,
Yeah.
but you take that on and you carry that with you unless there's someone else saying, hey, you know what? That's not who you are.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's the so the nature of the project is to talk about that, but it's also I only want to step back a couple seconds because this project is it's me doing the presentations, and I think I've just shared with you guys one of the videos here. I've spent back in 2007, 2008. And so that all of this book or this information is not just my opinion or what I think and all those things. I spent a year and a half traveling around the United States, produced this DVD 4 hours, but I'm talking to people who are more intelligent than I am about the subjects that we're talking about.
Okay.
So when I'm talking about legal questions, as I asked them in the documentary, it's what I think. But I'm also one of the folks is the Attorney General for the state of Ohio. So I think he has more legal standing than I do. So other legal folks, what is the legal definition of a black person in the United States? We'll figure out what that is, what it has been, what it's changed to, all of those things. What's that? When we talk to pastors, rabbis, etc., where does God call anybody in any Bible black, white, all those other things, etc.? So it's legal, it's scientific, religious, scientists. What is the definition of being a human? What, as a species, what is a human species? Well, there's a methodology for putting different animals and everything else on the planet into species. When you take that information and you apply that same information and put it to people, there's no such thing as separate races for people.
Right.
There's only
Human
species.
race.
Yeah.
Right.
So in light of all of that, we have stuff on TV, we have media, we have all this other stuff, choosing which stories to pick and highlight and tell you what it means to you and all of that stuff. Or you have things that have a tangible, concrete structure to them. That's science, law, religion. Quite, but if none of those things call you any of these names, what benefit, how is that ever going to help you solve whatever problem if your people never started this language?
Right.
Whoever your people are.
Exactly. Why do you think I know why I think, but why do you think the reason is that we're so quick to just accept that? Just, okay, black, Mexican, whatever, whoever, white, why are we so quick to accept that as our identity?
Well, so I'll actually answer that question, I guess kind of in a backwards thing, because whenever I do these shows, everyone says, hey, this is a show that's great for our time period. It's always got racial stuff implications, but it fits this perfect time. Been doing this show since 2003, 4, a bunch of different shows, all this other stuff. So it's fit that time period every single time. So in effect, nothing has changed.
Nothing. I mean, we can go back to slavery and nothing will have changed. So yes, we can go further back, 100 years. How about?
So if you're using this same kind of language and you're talking about change and you're talking about a whole bunch of things and nothing ever changes, it either doesn't fit or it doesn't work. Or it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and that's keep everybody divided, talking about racial kind of stuff. I'll further answer that because this show actually started a couple different things. I think everybody here has kids, maybe a lot of folks in the audience, that kind of thing. So there's the legal part. there's all the other scientific, religious, etc. But a major component of this show has to do with my daughter. So, and I talk about this through all the presentations. As a matter of fact, before we get into all the stuff about what everybody thinks and a whole bunch of other stuff, I like to go through the show. We ask a couple different questions, and then we open up the floor for that. But this show started because I, just like a lot of folks, I'm a kid, a product of public aid.
Okay.
My mother, I was my mom's fourth kid at 25. I got 8 brothers and sisters on this side with the same mother and father, and I got, or a same mother, different fathers, and I got 8 brothers and a whole bunch more on my dad's side.
Wow.
A whole bunch of things. So when we talk about, you'll see a lot of the presentations, I talk to kids who come or who want to come out of those exact same situations that I was as a kid. Poor, you know, all the different things. You got to, you know, you don't have anything. So the purpose of the show, now that I have a daughter, my daughter's life is much better than mine. You know, I tell her about, you know, butter sandwiches and all of that kind of stuff, and she can't even believe in it.
It. Like, what?
That stuff.
And that's how it should be.
Right.
Well,
you know?
To a point.
I want my son's life to be better than mine.
Right.
Well, this is a different show. You want it to be better, but you also want your kids to learn how to persevere a little bit too, and not expect that you're going to bring them every single thing. iPhone 5 comes out, Dad, I want an iPhone 5.
Right.
How come you didn't get it to me the day it was out? What are you talking about?
Right. And that's knowing your kid and creating a balance. So.
And that's their experience at their time. That would be like, that's their butter sandwich.
Well,
so, when they don't get it.
Right. So it's a different time.
Yeah. So that's the direction. So the show is also talking about how, when I talk to my daughter, what is it that I want her to know? What is it that I want her as she goes through the whole life and all this other stuff? And the number one thing is that despite whatever you think your race and ethnicity is and all that other stuff, and I mentioned it on a lot of my materials, is that the only real difference between people, despite what you think your race and ethnicity is, and most people get it with old information, is that successful people do not let other people define who they are and what they can become.
That's right.
So the show is about self-identification, not about race or racism, because ultimately throughout all the things that ever happen in your life, when you talk to people who are still struggling with that, and the people who have come from poverty and a whole bunch of things, at some point, there's a point or a couple of turning points where they say, listen, I can keep crying about what I don't have and begging people about what I can't get, or I can work with what I got.
Right.
And that's how we go from this spot to the next spot, you know, or for me, that's how it's worked for me. That's how I pass it along.
I love it. It takes me to, I think about the statement Martin Luther King has, that famous one about being judged by my character instead of the color of my skin. You know, that goes along with, you know, of course, learning who you are. That's the first and most important, self-identification. Knowing where you come from, knowing who you are, that basically builds your self-love for yourself. You know, then you take responsibility for yourself. You know, as a term, this whole situation right now we're living in, we just spoke earlier, nothing has really changed. We have like Black Lives Matter, you have, you know, the police profiling, brutality, those type of things, and it's based on race, you know? Yeah. And so I think with self-identification, I think what you're doing is, this is something new to me. I haven't heard of someone going around building this type of awareness project. You know, you don't hear about this every day. So can you take us back, like, how did this all come about for you to start doing this?
No, so yes, I certainly can. And there's a reason why you don't hear about projects like this. And actually, I can probably, one of my core tenet kind of things is that everybody, despite all the information or the education part of things, there's a reason why race is still around at the level that it is. And the whole history of the United States is that obviously they came over from England, wherever else. Their whole purpose was to start a corporation to get wealthy. All the resources, well, we don't have buffalo anymore, we don't have a whole bunch of other different things. They were taking everything here to get as rich as they possibly can. Well, if race and racism didn't sell newspapers, didn't sell advertising space, it would have been gone a long time ago.
Right.
But you can't get up in the morning without seeing a radio show or a TV show or we need to have another group discussion. Oprah, everybody, let's have another discussion. Kid gets shot, let's have another discussion. Whatever else happens, let's have another discussion. And then you go, well, that's fine. We're not against discussions and all of the other stuff. But what are the things that are going to help me get from this point to the next point quickly? And part of the thing is that, do I sit? And I'll do it. I'll show it this way. Is a thing that I talked to my daughter about. And I was a basketball player. And so I tell my daughter all the time, so say you were never in the game, you're a scrub or whatever else, you never get in the game. Finally, the coach puts you in, and you're there, and you get fouled. You know what I mean? So you get fouled. The referee gives you the ball. Do you spend all your time telling everybody else to sit down and be quiet and shut up so you can make the free throw? And where does that get you? Or do you spend your time concentrating on the rim, figuring out where you need to stand in the floor, and concentrating on making that basket? You can do either one, but most successful people and the people who stay on the floor and stay on the team focus on that basket, focus on the ball, focus on the things, accomplish what they need to do. And if you make that basket, what happens? Everybody else in the audience sits down and be quiet. It has more to do with you than what you're talking about everybody else, in my opinion.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it's a very good analogy, and I agree with that. It's so much more that we have to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will come right back and hear more about the Other Awareness Project with Michael James Brown. Stay with us.
Did you know that your skin is your body's largest organ? And you should be aware of what you're applying to it. The more natural products you use, the better. The best place to start is with Did It For Love handmade natural body products, made with pure organic ingredients. Our Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is whipped to perfection and hydrates dry, cracked skin and protects from UV rays. Did It For Love Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is infused with essential oils. You can choose from scents like lavender, vanilla and sandalwood, white rose, and many more. Our deodorant has a fresh scent that not only works against odor, but also reduces sweat. With this toxin-free deodorant, you can feel fresh and confident all day long. You can also keep your lips healthy and kissable with our handmade lip balms, in healing and fruity scents like tantalizing peppermint to sensational green apple. Our products promote healthy, youthful-looking skin and is safe for the whole family, vegan-friendly, cruelty-free, and gentle enough for cancer survivors and those going through treatment. Go to diditforlove.com today. Did It For Love, toxin-free for your whole family.
Welcome back to It's Time to Talk. We are having a very interesting conversation, something that, like Deidre said earlier, we hadn't really heard before.
Right.
And we have a studio guest, Michael James Brown. I'll show the DVD right now, The Other Awareness Project. Now, on here, I was reading the back, Michael, and it says you have 3 bullet points at the bottom, but within that, you have racism isn't a hard problem to solve.
Yes.
So how do we solve it?
Well, so it's not, the very first thing is that you never solve it. Well, first of all, you can't solve it by letting someone else continue to call you the names that they decided for you.
Thank you.
So how okay, perfect.
Let's stop right there.
Let's stop right there. Perfect. So how do we stop them from calling us those names?
No, it's not. You can't stop them. You can't stop them from the poor behavior that they have. Again, just like I was doing with the free throw analogy.
Right.
You can't stop you waste your time trying to stop other people from doing the things that they say. The way that you solve it, and this is why the project is about self-identification. It's up to you to determine how you are going to respond to all the situations that are in your life. Because, number one, if you know 5 people who call them black, it's very tough outside of their skin. It's very tough to figure out what are the common things that they have.
Right.
People have a lot of different things that they do that they don't do. Right. This whole black thing. If you go back, when did people start calling themselves black? So you really go back into, this is bad science. You go back to Darwin and before, they were the ones who started putting people into races. These are the yellow, these are the black, these are the white. Prior to 600, 700 years ago, you look through documentation, you look through stories, you don't find that language of people associating themselves with this language.
Right. So how, as a person, how would you disengage, literally disengage from that? You said, yes, self-identification, you go inside yourself. How does one do that? Because it's habitual, because it's everywhere. We're inundated with it, and we walk with it, we feel it, we talk with it. You know, you see people who do get to a successful level, we think, oh, now they see the color green. They're no longer black or white or whatever. But then you see a person like LeBron James, who just had the N-word scribbled on his gate in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, wherever. And a person that's trying to maybe not identify with that sees that and thinks, oh, well, it's everywhere, so I might as well just be a part of it or fight.
Well, that's completely up to you.
So how do you
And that's
disengage?
that's completely up to everybody. So
Right.
I'll give you an example of disengagement. I'm a longtime volunteer in the community. I volunteer for Big Brothers, Ronald McDonald House, a whole bunch of different things. One of the organizations in one of the cities that I lived in, hey, would you be a member of our board? What's the board? It's charity, it's helping out women and kids. Sure, I'll 100% be a member of that and help raise money, etc. Oh, great. She goes, great. They were doing an outreach. We need to have more African Americans, black people on our board. And I go, hold on, wait. If we did a survey of all the people here in the room, why they are serving on this board, as you list the reasons, do you think their skin color is going to be one of the top 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Right. She goes, no. Well, then don't choose me because you think of that I'm filling out the slot that you assigned in your thing. Please don't pick me on that base because I don't know what you expect me to do as being the only black member, because if there's something that I see that's incorrect or whatever else, I'm going to stand up and say it and not just keep my position because I think I'm the only, trying to be the only black person out of the whole thing. When we have this meeting, my vote counts just as much as everybody else is here.
And I think that goes to, the whole token thing. It's like instead of hiring somebody for their skills or, of course there's diversity is needed. So everyone should be represented and included, but don't just say, just because we need a black person, you want them to be qualified, have their own voice, their own interests, and that can contribute to the dialogue, to, whatever's going on. So would you say part of the disengagement is just calling them out on it and just confronting it?
Well, it's up to you. Don't have to. So I'll say it yes, but I'll say it this way. So when I made the Other Awareness Project, and actually I'll use this opportunity. One of the books that I used turned out to be a great resource for this whole book was a book by J.A. Rogers. And the book is called Nature Knows No Color Line.
Nature Knows No Color Line.
So who is that on the picture of that cover?
I don't know who that is.
You open up the cover, you'll find it. That's Queen Elizabeth of England. Looks nothing like any of the pictures you've ever seen of Queen Elizabeth and all the history. This is a guy, J.A. Rogers is a guy who funded his own research to the point that he went overseas, Europe, he went through the libraries, he went through all the other things, paid for himself to not document who's greater or who's lesser, but to establish that throughout history there have been black people, African people, people from the continent of Africa throughout all of history. You go to Europe in the 1300s, they were government officials, they were a whole bunch of other stuff. We don't hear about it because it's not part of it, because they don't teach it. But he's saying it's not a new thing. Yeah. And these are people, you don't have to fight with other people about their stupidity. You just, in my opinion,
I like that.
Yeah, you just need to figure out.
I like that. Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
My opinion, you don't have to fight with other people about their stupidity.
Right.
I don't even think you need to have a sit down in a discussion with people talking about stupid stuff.
That's right.
If it's not going to bear fruit for you, well, you're wasting your time.
Yes.
So you need to determine all of those things. When I talk to everybody, I'm going, these are things that it's meant to be a project where you sit and think about your actions and then what are you going to do going forward. So that's part of the disengagement.
I love it.
But also I mentioned that because when I wrote the Other Awareness Project, and I'll tell you, nobody, I mentioned earlier that a lot of this stuff persists because of race and racism. Well, a lot of diversity programs, I got kicked out a couple of diversity programs because the very first thing they want you to do when you get into the program is who are the white ones, who are the black ones, who are they.
Wow.
They do a week or 4 hours of the whole thing, and then they all come out still calling themselves black, white, or whatever else. And so it's like nothing's ever happened. So at the National Conference Race and Ethnicity, it's all PhDs at all of the colleges around the country. They meet and to talk about race and racism. Cornel West was a speaker. They have all the other different folks. I spoke there 3 years. I chose not to go back again because they're more interested in having the next year's conference than they are in really having, in my opinion,
creating a solution.
But when I go to I'm not a PhD or anything. I'm not the doctor of whatever. But when to speak at this conference, I don't go up to the conference and pick it outside and tell everybody else what's wrong with them and all of that stuff. So I don't argue with anybody. I write the paper that I'm going to write. I provide the substantiation where I got the information from, and I turn it into the committee. So the committee determines whether what I'm saying is connected to something or whether I can't speak or I can. I've spoken there 3 times. I've spoken to the national conference, not the conference, but the Toronto School District Board in Canada, the National School District Board. I've spoken to all of those kids, gave them, and teachers, administrators, giving them the project as well.
Well,
so,
it sounds like, I love it. I absolutely love it. And it sounds like that, it's self-identification is what you say, but it sounds more like self-empowerment, realizing who you are innately, outside of our skin, and not being led by that, not caring about who thinks whatever they think of you because of how you look. And I think there's so much power in that, especially nowadays, and especially with everything that we hear and see and everything in social media and everything on the news, even our president, and it's so easy to fall into that trap and just go backwards. Everyone say, oh, we're going backwards, we're taking 10 steps back. Are we all arm in arm stepping backwards together? No, we are individuals. We're all of God, but we're all individuals. So I said all that to say I love this project, and I love that it makes you think outside of this racial box, so to speak.
Right. And one of my, again, we've touched on it quickly, but, as, we talk about God, I believe in God, okay? I believe that we've been given the wrong images of God to worship.
So, yes.
So if you, and I say that, I graduated from Azusa Pacific University. And I've written several papers about why we had the wrong images and all this other stuff, and I got A's on the paper.
Okay.
But, so you're a people, and a lot of people, I can't just say us, whatever, but a lot of folks are divorced from God, and the strength that you have is already in you. There's no, you watch other animals being born. You watch everything on the planet. Seeds are dropped in the ground. The right conditions, they're blooming. They already know this. They don't have to take classes and diversity programs and all of this stuff to make this stuff happen. You, made of God, from God, you have all of these things
power,
right into you.
Yes.
So at this, so that's what I think the point is, trying to keep you divorced from that power that you already have. And the longer that they keep you from finding that stuff, you can only keep making the same mistakes and coming to the same problem.
Yeah, that's what gets me, especially within our culture too, because we keep perpetuating the same dialogue, the same things about us, the same stereotypes about us, and until we address it, because that's where a lot of it comes. I still hear it. I'm here. It's a group of guys. They call that now. Other races call them. I see some young Hispanic men and young Asian men. They're calling each other that. And I know. I hear people from time to time. Yes, the N-word. I hear that. Let me tell you, I heard it the other day, and I turned around and looked, and it was a group of Hispanic boys. I was like, wow. And so I think, they're trying to say, let's desensitize that word. Let's do, this and that. But I'm like,
let's make it positive.
Yeah, and it's like, and you cannot do that with it has it's a negative connotation. It derived from negativity. It derived from oppression. It derived from ill intent. So I think something like this is needed. And then you say you go around to the schools. Do you address that
100%.
word? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the schools, and if you've been to a school lately, it's, and actually, I'll even go back a step. When I do these presentations, I start off at the very beginning. I don't have any language restrictions on the show. Okay. So people say N-word. I think that desensitizes a little bit. The word's nigger. Yeah. And the way that they said it and the way that it was used and all of those things. Today, you see kids on buses in schools, and you're right, all different kids groups are communicating that way. But now that it's been in music and it's been in shows and all this other stuff, everybody thinks that's the coolest way to be or all this other stuff. So instead of even talking about the issue or talking about the problem, they make it better that everybody can now say it and everybody can use it, and it makes it easier, and it completely hides the intent. So when we talk about when we do this show, and the button is all up, and it's a 4-hour show and it changes all the time because the whole thing is to bring information and stories and accounts that are never presented to you while you're growing through school. So you could be 50 years old before you find out about whomever, Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey accomplished a lot. Right. Doesn't even get his own day.
I think another takeaway for me for this and subjects like this is to be open-minded. Because if your mind's not open, then you're going to think that the way that you were taught is the only way to gain knowledge. The place you went is the best place. The school that you went to is the best place that you could have ever gone to. And I went here. I know so much more than you. Right. Blah, 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 blah. If you have an open mind, then you can receive some new knowledge. Because no one knows everything. No one knows everything, but it's what connects with you in your heart when you have that open mind. That's what I want to read some comments since people are tuned in. We have Nate Palmer. This was earlier, by the way. He was saying, he said, "That's true, my brother, because that's all we know in our history books. Thank you so much, sir, for the knowledge that you are putting out there." Hey, Carmethia Doc says, "Hey, Deidre and April. Hey, everybody." And then Nate Palmer goes on to say, "What I say on the aspect is that you kill people with kindness. Whether black or white, race, at the end of the day, we're still here. We are supposed to be in America, the land of the free." So, it's
and
all.
And then Christy S. Spotsville says, "Hello, ladies. Hello, Michael."
Hello, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hello, Christy.
And then Ken says, "Hello, ladies. Sup, Jarvis. Congrats on great job, Mom and Auntie." That was in regard to April's son graduating from middle school. So
right.
I want to just make sure we get our listeners in there. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in.
Thank you so much.
This is a riveting conversation, something that has been going down since the beginning of time. Well, at least the last 200, 400 years now.
But it's just not widely talked about. This subject here, let me hold it up again. This subject on a wide scale is not largely talked about. We complain. Yeah. We might talk amongst our own groups, white, black, whatever, but we hardly ever come together for the purpose of a solution or for the purpose to change it. Because we all go back to our separate corners and we all pick up our own phones and social media. We all watch the news and then we're back to the same old thing. Okay, another black man killed by the police. Right. Okay, another this. Another girl claimed that. Another white person claimed that. Another, another Mexican did that or Latino did that. And then we're back into the groups.
Right. How does, in terms of like the other races, when you present this project to them, what feedback? What is the consensus on that?
So, as a matter of fact, I have plenty of letters from all the kids in schools in Long Beach, Santa Monica, et cetera. Absolutely, love the information in the project because I give them and when you stand before kids or you stand before an audience of folks. A lot of times you can be perceived as being the know-it-all, or you have all the information and all of those kind of things. So, but when I have the presentations and I pass out the questions that I'm going to be talking about, I tell people don't just get your information from me.
Yeah.
So the way, if I say, like in the picture here, that's a picture of Queen Elizabeth, or there are African images on Dutch, German, French flags in the 1200s, in the 1300s. There are images of a black Madonna or black Christ all throughout Europe.
Yes.
Don't believe me just because I said it.
Right.
This is the time for you to put down the Xboxes, put down all this other stuff, and don't believe just because I say it. This is the time where you, instead of hitting Facebook likes and clicks and all of that stuff, you have to take action.
Right.
You have to figure out what it is that you're going to be. Because the flip side of this whole thing, we can talk about what white folks did and what white folks didn't do and what they didn't give us. But the more important thing is that you need to address what holes you have in your understanding.
That's right.
And the quicker way to doing that, instead of telling everybody else to sit down, is to figure out you fill that information in for yourself to help yourself get stronger. And that's going to help you more than a whole bunch of councils and all that other kind of stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that goes, I mean, like you said, self-identification, that's also doing self-work, figuring out who you are as a person, your own identity, what you're willing to accept, what you don't accept, and being accountable for yourself. Like I said earlier, taking responsibility for your own life, for how you think, how you carry yourself, how you treat other people, and how you let others treat you, and teaching how to you teach others how to treat you, on top of that. So I think this is a wonderful, I love how you say about the other awareness project. I like that title because it's that elephant in the room, and that people don't want to talk about, but it is so much needed. And especially, I mean, I think about it like when we talk about race, in terms of race, who's the common denominator most times? It's us, people of color, because we're the most, to me, we're the most identifiable because of our skin color. To me, I said this when I was in college, and I took a class, and they showed a picture like they showed a black woman and another woman of a different Caucasian, whatever. Say how are these two people identified? And I said, well, the white person, if she could get a nose job and change her nose, she could dye her hair blonde, and she could easily fit in as a Caucasian person. Right. A black person can never change their skin color. I mean, now, but
yeah,
now, but on the bigger scheme of things,
technology girl.
Yeah, I know, right? Pretty soon, maybe. Yeah. But things like that.
No,
but in terms of comparison, we will always stand out. We could dye our hair blonde now, but we're still gonna have this brown, beautiful black skin that we have.
Right.
Things like that. So I think that's where it comes in, knowing your history, knowing who you are, being proud of who you are. And that's every culture, any race, but don't let those words define us, the stereotypes, the derogatory comments, the oppressed comments, things like that. So I love it.
The interesting part, you just reminded me of this, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but they said by the year 2050, I guess, a majority of America is going to be beige.
Cafe latte.
Yeah, so what are they going to do then when everyone, and I guess beyond then, maybe one day we'll all be beige. They will all be beige. I won't be here, I'm sure. But what do you do then? What do we do then?
Well, you would do the same.
Where do you identify yourself? You know what I mean? Like who's black, who's white, who's...
You would do the same thing that you should be doing now. Again, so there are no separate races of people. When they say who's the black one, who's the white one, whatever else. These are things that, because these are things that have been placed out there. But you can find plenty of people around this whole planet who do like a lot of different things. And then, more important than that, as you go through history and you go through writing and reading of background from everybody else, nobody else said this. Nobody else said you can't read ancient Chinese or Korean or whatever. We're the yellow ones, they're the black ones, they're the white ones. Nobody else said that. It was all based on terrible science. Ask a question about the Caucasus Mountains. People in the Caucasus Mountains do not look like the people in England or wherever else. So if you say, who are the true Caucasians? Well, it's probably over here, and it's not where you would think. But that's one of my videos on the thing on YouTube as we talked about a whole bunch of these things.
Wow, an hour is not long enough.
It's not long enough. We are running out of time. Can you please let people know how to reach you and how to, maybe have a website or social media you'd like to give out to maybe continue this discussion with some of these people out here?
Sure. The preferred way to reach me is to buy me a beer or two at Ballast Point Brewery in Long Beach.
That's right.
Well, we can continue the discussion then.
Part 2, Facebook Live. Which is there.
On table overlooking the water. But
That's right.
No, you can always find me and read more about the project, because there's a lot more, obviously. But read otherwarenessproject.com. You can visit there. Facebook.com /otherwarenessproject. YouTube is OA Project, and you can always call me or ask me questions at any of those, any place at all. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Okay, awesome.
Fantastic. We thank you so much,
you,
Michael James Brown. Thank you so much for being here. You have opened up my eyes to just something that needs to be talked about and on a wide scale. So I'm so glad that you were here.
And we love your name, too. Did someone love James Brown?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. That's not how I got my last name.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, that's another.
Well, I mean, Michael James. I should.
Michael James.
Brown. Yeah. Michael Jackson and James
Yeah.
Brown.
Well, we thank you so much for being here. And we thank all of you that tuned in. We surely appreciate you. We want you guys to have a safe and prosperous week. And join us next time on It's Time to Talk.
Remember, your conversation is your affirmation. Have a great one.
God bless.
Thank you.